Hey guys, how's it going? I wanted to make a follow-up video. I know yesterday I did the video talking about Anonymous and their retaliatory attacks on, the Department of Justice, MPAA, RIAA, and a whole slew of other websites. And so this was payback. It was called hashtag OPMEGAUPLOAD. And now this was payback for the shutdown of MegaUpload and their sister site MegaVideo, and also the arrest of a handful of people that were associated with MegaVideo, including the owner, whose name is Kim.com, and was arrested in New Zealand. So today I just wanted to do a follow-up video. There's been a lot of talk about, in terms of SOPA and PIPA, whether or not this anonymous attack, the DDoS that they did yesterday, will actually help SOPA and provide some firepower for those trying to get it passed, because they can say, oh look, the internet is really crazy. After we shut down MegaUpload, which was totally illegal in my eyes, after we shut down MegaUpload, we had all our websites shut down by this huge hacking group. And so, a lot of people who aren't very aware of what Anonymous is and how a DDoS works might be duped into thinking that the attacks were actually counterproductive. And, of course, the media started to try and spin it, the mainstream media, as soon as they could, that, this is going to add some ammunition for those trying to censor the internet. And so what I'm here to tell you is that that is absolutely false. And now I'm going to get into a bit of why that is. I mentioned yesterday the way that a DDoS works. It's not actually hacking per se in the way that you normally think of hacking, which is someone with computer skills, usually programming, can, write a script or use some kind of method to hack into a website and, take information or shut it down. The way a DDoS works is simple. There's a program called Low Orbit Ion Cannon, and you use that program. A ton of people join up, and yesterday we heard that it was over 5 million people is the number that's going around. How that's possible I'll get into later, but we heard that 5 million people joined together in a botnet essentially and allowed their bandwidth to be used to send these fake packets of data requests to these websites, and they just get overloaded with the data requests, and the server isn't able to take it, and the server is temporarily unavailable. There's no actual intrusion into the website and no taking of information. So it's essentially one of the kindest, if you will, protests you can do. It's essentially an internet sit-in. So the idea that, this is bad for people who are fighting for internet freedom, what it really did was show that these big media companies like the RIAA and the MPAA can't just show up with the FBI and arrest a ton of people without any reaction from the internet community. And so that's why it was so substantial. We saw millions of people saying, you know what, you can't just come after our beautiful day of protests of SOPA, where now it's said that 7 million people signed Google's petition to stop SOPA. You can't, the day after that, just show up and start arresting people in a show of force and say essentially, that was cute, your little protest, but we don't need SOPA, we don't need people, we'll just arrest you anyways. And that's essentially what they did. And so the fact that millions of people at that point stood up and said, you know what, we're not just going to let you get away with that, is pretty substantial. And there are no shortage of headlines today, and there's going to be no shortage of headlines from here on forth. The information wars, the media wars, they've started. And they started a long time ago, but it's becoming ever more present. I just want to pull up one thing now. I noticed this morning. If you try and share the link occupynetwork.tv/occupytv on Facebook, you will get an error, and what will come up is it will say the content you're trying to share has been blocked for being spammy or unsafe. So essentially what we have here is explicit censorship by Facebook. And you know, we've seen this with Twitter hashtags. They've been blocking certain Twitter hashtags from trending all the way back when Occupy Oakland was getting raided. So this is real. The US government is fighting back in whatever way possible. And you know, they've been doing these kind of hidden things like censoring a hashtag from trending. You know, that's something that we only realized after we looked at the amount of people that were using these hashtags to find out that it was being blocked from trending. Examples such as not being able to post a link, explicitly trying to stop us. And you know, the first real example of this was when they the New York Police Department put up a notice on the door of Global Revolution's New York studio in Brooklyn. And what that notice said was, this area has to be is unfit for human life, and so if you don't vacate the premises, you will be arrested. And so this was in the first floor of the building. They were the only room in the building to get this notice, and sure enough, the next day 5 live streamers from Global Revolution were arrested. So this is what it's turned into now. The US isn't going to try to hide in the shadows and do these things like they've been doing. They will just come out and try and stop us because it's gaining far too much momentum. It is scaring the shit out of them. You can see it in their actions. They're getting crazier and crazier. You know, we're really hoping that the day doesn't come when they start, you know, taking up arms against their own citizens. But, you know, be aware of that possibility because they are getting more and more brazen with these kinds of attacks that they're doing. And so I just want to hop into a few more headlines today. So Lamar Smith, the chief sponsor of SOPA, said on Friday today that he is pulling the bill until there is wider agreement on a solution. So essentially, SOPA is off the table. You know, it's dead, as people in the media are saying. What I have to say to that is beware. These things usually get swept under the rug and come back with a different name or put back on the table for discussion at a later date. I really have faith that they won't be able to pass SOPA or PIPA because too many people are looking out for it, but I guarantee you that they will try and do that. And an interesting note that I wanted to bring up, the chairman of the MPAA is, his name is Chris Dodd. And so Chris Dodd used to be a U.S. Senator for years and years and years for the Democratic Party. And essentially, he's part of the revolving door phenomenon where he went straight to a job with a lofty job with the MPAA, the Music Picture Association of America. And so behind that cute sounding name is truly one of the more evil organizations. Along with the RIAA, Record Industry Association of America. These are the two leading forces that have been trying to crack down on the internet and file sharing. And what these guys do not realize, they're really trying to fit this model, this old economic capitalist model that doesn't account for the internet, which is you have to go and buy a DVD and go and buy a physical CD in the real world. Now, if these guys really wanted to save profits, which is all that they're concerned about, what they would do is they would have to innovate and create a way that people could get their products via the internet that was more convenient than pirating it. People are not going to spend money and go out of their way to buy a product that usually sucks and was just made so they could try and make profits off it and push these insane budgets and try and advertise these movies to hell, which have no real plot, no real character development. They're just made to try and get one big name actor, and they don't care if it's a 3-star movie out of 10. You know, they just want to make some bucks off it. So these guys are leading the force, and it's an ex-politician, What a coincidence, right? Some other news. Back to the DDoS from yesterday. One of the craziest things that I saw from this DDoS was the fact that it was viral. And one of the things that made it so viral, which I had not seen before, was a program that allowed you to use, it's JavaScript, and allowed you to use low orbit ion cannon within a browser. So normally you would have to download the program and use it. It was super simple, but all you have to do now is click on a link and they will set you up, and I believe they had a Dropbox where you could just pick which site you wanted to start DDoSing and then hit the fire your laser button and start flooding them with packets. And so for some reason this was just going insane throughout Twitter with Spanish users. I can't say exactly what country, but people who were speaking Spanish were going crazy about this and firing this link around everywhere, which really goes to show how global the resistance was. And so here's another headline. This is from Madrid. It says, a prominent Spanish lawyer is threatening a lawsuit over the Federal Bureau of Investigation's decision to shut down MegaUpload, one of the world's most popular file sharing websites. So, you know, this resistance is global. Even though it stems from the US, this really infringes on everybody's rights, and they're really trying to screw up the internet. And you know, it's not just us in North America, to the North American viewers out there. It really is the whole world that has a lot to lose with these money fiends trying to screw it up for everybody. And the DDoSes today, which I found was hilarious, have not stopped whatsoever. They've continued, and so Anonymous IRC, I just read a few of his tweets, and the website that they've continued to knock down today, they took down justice.gov again today. They've taken down universalstudios.com again today. And also they had some attacks on New Zealand, because we know New Zealand was involved with this, arresting Kim.com in New Zealand. And so the websites that they took off were ofcanz.government.nz, which is the Organized and Financial Crime Agency of New Zealand, and also police.govt.nz. So New Zealand is bearing a bit of the wrath of Anonymous, and I can tell you it's not going to stop. Every day I'm going to have a whole ton of headlines to report to you guys, because this thing is accelerating. The strength of the attacks that Anonymous is putting forwards in terms of DDoS, and you know, every time that they try and push SOPA or push PIPA or something like this, you know, it brings more people into Anonymous's ranks, because more people take a stand and say, you know what, no, this isn't right, we're not going to get bullied, we're not going to be pushed around anymore. And it's a really beautiful thing that people are not regarding their nation-state boundaries, because you know, we really are intrinsically linked, and it's really easy to see with the World Wide Web, this network that we have that goes beyond any boundaries. I'm a Canadian. I'm sure a lot of people watching this are going to not be from Canada, but you know, we can become this global consciousness now, which has been talked about for a long time. It's starting to come, finally. So before I get too philosophical, I'll end this story here. If you want, I believe I'm going to make a new YouTube channel specifically for these kinds of videos. And in the meantime, comment, ask me what you would like me to cover. I've been following these kinds of things for a very long time, so I have a bit of expertise in these areas. So if something's bothering you, or if you want to see your thoughts, if you have some thoughts you want covered, post it below and I will get back to you. Alright, salute my friends, take care.